All right, welcome everyone. Today we're diving deep into something, well, pretty wild. It all started with a joke at a political rally, which turned into a much bigger story.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how these seemingly small moments can ignite these massive conversations. And this one brings together politics, celebrity, and Puerto Rican identity.
It's October 2024.
Elections heating up.
Exactly. And both the Trump and Harris campaigns are, well, they've really zeroed in on Pennsylvania.
Crucial state. Big Puerto Rican population.
Huge. And it's at a Trump rally at Madison Square Garden where things get, well, interesting. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe takes the stage and makes a joke about Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, that one. Calling it a floating island of garbage.
Not great.
Not a good look. And the reaction was swift. Politicians, celebrities, a lot of people condemned the joke.
And it wasn't just a simple gaffe, was it?
Not really. It kind of exposed this underlying issue. The way Puerto Rico and its people are often perceived in the media, in politics, like they're just a problem to be dealt with.
Instead of, a vibrant culture.
Exactly. A culture with a rich history. And that feeling of being marginalized, unseen, it resonated with a lot of Puerto Ricans, both on the island and here in the mainland U.S.
So lots of reactions, but the one that really caught my eye was from, well, I guess you could say global superstar Bad Bunny.
Huge following.
Massive, particularly among young Latinos. And he reposts this video from Kamala Harris's campaign on his Instagram.
And the video itself, it was a critique of Trump's handling of Hurricane Maria. The relief efforts.
So reposting a video, not a huge deal on the surface, right?
Think about it. This is Bad Bunny. Global superstar, proud of his Puerto Rican heritage. He's choosing to engage in U.S. politics.
And on an issue that hits home.
Directly impacts his community. So it becomes this incredibly powerful statement.
He's kind of reclaiming the narrative.
Absolutely. Challenging those negative perceptions that Hinchcliffe's joke brought to the surface.
Right. And think about it. Bad Bunny, his success, it challenges stereotypes often associated with Puerto Ricans. Talent, creativity, cultural pride.
He's a symbol of that.
By taking this stand, he's saying, we deserve respect.
You can't ignore us.
And the timing right after the Hinchcliffe joke
adds fuel to the fire.
Definitely. And, while his representative said it wasn't a formal endorsement, Bad Bunny did confirm he was supporting Harris.
Interesting.
So we have politics, celebrity, cultural identity, all colliding.
All on a national stage.
Exactly. So how did this reposting of a video become such a big deal?
Well, we need to look at the political landscape of this election. Both the Trump and Harris campaigns, they know how important the Latino vote is.
Especially the Puerto Rican vote.
Huge. And they're not just trying to get those votes. They're shaping their messages, their strategies to appeal to this community.
It's not just Pennsylvania either.
Right. Puerto Ricans are a growing demographic in a lot of key states that could decide this election.
So how are these campaigns responding to all this? What are they doing to connect with these voters?
Well, that's a great question, and that's where we'll pick up next time. Picking up where we left off, we were talking about the two campaigns and how they're dealing with this whole Bad Bunny situation. I think the Harris campaign, they see an opportunity here.
Yeah, they're not just sitting back.
No, they're really doubling down on their efforts to connect with Latino voters and going beyond just the usual talking points.
So they're being more specific.
Much more. They're tailoring their message to address the concerns of different groups within the Latino electorate. For example, comprehensive immigration reform. It's a big one for many Latino voters, particularly those of Puerto Rican descent.
Makes sense.
They're also highlighting their plans for economic empowerment within the Latino community.
Things like access to health care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And quality education, job creation initiatives, those kinds of things.
And of course, the focus on Puerto Rico's recovery and long-term well-being.
Big time. And it's a stark contrast to what we're seeing from the Trump campaign, especially after the Hinchcliffe joke and Trump's own history with Puerto Rico.
Right. You have that whole paper towel incident, the delays in aid, the criticism over his response to Hurricane Maria.
Yeah, all that's coming back into play now.
And it's hard to erase that kind of history, especially when you have someone like Bad Bunny, who's a trusted voice in the community, bringing it up again.
It puts the Trump campaign in a difficult spot.
They're trying to downplay the Hinchcliffe thing, say it was just a joke taken out of context.
But it's tough when you look at Trump's past comments about the island and the way his administration handled the hurricane relief efforts.
They can't just ignore it.
No, and they still need to appeal to their base, which includes a lot of conservative Latinos.
But they don't want to alienate those moderate voters who might be turned off by this whole situation.
Right, it's a tightrope walk for them.
So we're seeing the Harris campaign trying to energize Latino voters, especially the younger generation, while the Trump campaign is trying to control the damage and reassure voters that they haven't been forgotten.
That's a good way to put it.
It's really incredible how a single joke made at a rally in New York can have such a huge impact on the whole political scene.
It is, and it shows how these seemingly small things can set off these chain reactions. And with social media, everything gets amplified and scrutinized.
Campaigns aren't just about speeches and policies anymore.
It's about optics, about the story you're telling, about connecting with voters on an emotional level.
And in that sense, the Harris campaign, I think they've got an advantage now, thanks to Bad Bunny.
I think so, too. He brings authenticity to the table.
He's not a politician, he's an artist, and he connects with his audience on a different level.
Especially for many young Latinos.
His voice carries more weight than any politician's.
Yeah, for them, it's not just about politics anymore.
It's about identity representation, having your voice heard.
And those are powerful themes, especially for young people who are often disillusioned with the way things are.
So we've talked about the political strategies, the different groups of voters, the power of celebrity influence. But let's get back to Bad Bunny for a second. He's started this bigger conversation about what it means to be a Puerto Rican in the U.S., about identity and belonging.
It's a really important part of this whole story. Bad Bunny's brought to light this long-standing struggle of Puerto Ricans to be fully seen and respected in American society.
There's this feeling of being stuck between two worlds.
Not fully American in the eyes of some, but facing pressure to fit in and downplay their culture.
And that's why his global success is so important.
It's a counter-narrative to those negative stereotypes.
He's a symbol of Puerto Rican talent, creativity, resilience.
And by speaking out against injustice, he's challenging those stereotypes and inspiring a new generation to embrace their heritage and demand recognition.
He's giving voice to a community that's often felt marginalized and unheard.
Powerful stuff.
So what are the potential consequences of all of this? How will this shape the election? How will it affect things beyond the election?
Those are great questions, and that's exactly what we're going to explore when we come back.
Okay, so we've been looking at this whole thing with Bad Bunny and the election, and it really feels like we're seeing a shift.
Yeah, like artists and celebrities aren't just entertainers anymore.
Right, they're actually shaping the political landscape.
It's not just endorsements. It's about using their platforms to raise awareness, to challenge narratives, to start conversations that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Like we saw with Bad Bunny, one Instagram post can have a huge impact.
Absolutely. It's a ripple effect that goes way beyond that initial post.
So what do you think? What are some potential outcomes here?
Well, first of all, and this is probably the most obvious, Bad Bunny's actions could really impact voter turnout, particularly among young Latinos.
He's made it cool to care about politics.
Right. And in a close election like this, mobilizing even a small percentage of those voters could be decisive, especially in states like Pennsylvania or Florida.
Beyond the election, though, I think Bad Bunny has also opened up a space for a more honest conversation about what it means to be Puerto Rican in the U.S.
It's forced us to confront those stereotypes and prejudices.
And it's highlighted how Puerto Ricans have been marginalized and misrepresented in the media and in politics.
Representation matters.
It really does. Seeing someone like Bad Bunny, who's proud of his heritage, achieving global success, it challenges those negative perceptions.
And it shows young Puerto Ricans what's possible.
Exactly. Like, you can be Puerto Rican and be successful. You can be proud of your culture and achieve your dreams.
That's powerful.
Incredibly powerful. So we have the potential impact on voter turnout, the shift in the political conversation, and the empowerment of a community that's often felt overlooked.
There's one more thing I think we should consider.
What's that?
Bad Bunny could inspire other artists and celebrities to get more involved in politics.
He set an example.
Yeah, he's shown that you can use your platform to speak out, to challenge the status quo, to make a difference.
And if that happens, if more artists use their voices to engage in political discourse, it could change everything.
How campaigns are run, how we as a society think about politics.
It's pretty amazing to think about. How did this all start with a joke at a political rally?
It all goes back to the power of individual actions, the importance of representation, and the changing role of artists and celebrities in shaping our world.
This deep dive was about one specific news item, but it's clear that the effects go way beyond that. It reminds us that even in today's world, individual voices can still make a huge impact. They can start conversations and drive change in unexpected ways.
Absolutely. As we move forward through this election and beyond, let's keep this in mind. Let's remember the power of our own voices, the importance of listening to and amplifying the voices of those who are often marginalized, and the potential we all have to create a more just and equitable society.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another fascinating story exploring those unexpected connections in our world. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep.